Hello and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3 Lower Bracket Finals. This is going to be the final game of the lower bracket, third game in the best of three series between Lajons and Virtus.Pro Polar. As for the first two games, I'm Grandis Feet, and I will be once again joined by Mike Flores.
All right, so we're 1-1. Each of these teams already has $3,000. Or 3,000 USD, I think. So they were already in the money. But of course, that's not what they're playing for. This is going to decide who goes up against the Hellraisers in the grand finals. And well, Virtus.Pro Polar, I said in the previous game that these fights, these entire games have been hinging upon initiation. There's their initiation right there.
And it's definitely something crucial in this draft in particular. First game, Lions go for the Draw Ranger lineup, just doesn't work out for them. And second game, although the early laning stage, very early laning stage, looks fine for Virtus.Pro, the axe just got completely out of control. Jonas Sunfan got off to a roaring start, and towards the end, they could do nothing about it, let alone the Storm Spirit behind him. And, well, we'll have to see how they're going to approach this game around. It's going to be first pick Witch Doctor from Lajons, following up that Brewmaster from VP.P. It's not the best lockdown up against a Brewmaster. They'll definitely need something to combo with it, and, well, I suppose if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I said that in game number 2 for VP.P as well.
Yeah, so maybe if it's not broken, then you do have to fix it just because. This is not quite the opening that Lajons had in the last game. It was Witch Doctor Viper. But Razor was picked up in game 1 to limited success. I would say up against the Brewmaster, Razor has a much more clear advantage than up against the Slark IO lane. But this is a decent start for Lajons. For Virtus.Pro Polar, it is as solid as you can get. Brewmaster, Vengeful Spirit, they have initiation in multiple ways. They have crowd control, and they don't even need a huge amount of crowd control just yet, but if it does come to it, they will have it.
For sure. Well, I quite like what VP.P have brought to the table with these first two picks between the Vengeful Spirit and the Brewmaster. Although we aren't going to see the Draw Ranger combination with the Venge, it's already just a really solid hero all around. This is going to be before we see some minor nerfs, but even then, I think Venge is still going to be really staple in the meta, even when 6.83 hits the floor. Virtus.Pro, what?
I was just going to say I didn't really look through all of that, but I think Vengeful Spirit is going to take a little bit of a hit just because there are other more attractive support heroes, but we'll go over that at some other time, I'm sure.
Fair enough. Either way, somehow Ogre Majaya, an incredibly strong support, has managed to sweep his way through to the second picking stage. Tidehunter, after not being picked up at all in the first two games, has been completely ignored, and Faceless Void is also there if Lions want to have that at their disposal. A lot of heroes have somehow slipped through the cracks.
Though Faceless Void would be pretty nice just to have more initiation power. I think it'll be slightly better on the Lions side as they do already have the Witch Doctor on their team, and Brewmaster Void typically don't like to play well together. But that being said, Lions with the Witch Doctor Ogre Magi combination, it's not the most aggressive dual supports that you could pick up, but they certainly do get the job done. Crowd control effects galore. When you're trying to gank a Brewmaster early on, if you static link him, stun him, he's going to fall. But Virtus.Pro Polar, they're going to take a different tact. It's going to be pure damage for them. Elder Titan has the pickup, and right now they're actually not too high on the damage, but they do have a couple of ways to go right now, namely the minus armor, which may or may not be an option for them.
Yeah, and even if it's not, there's hardly any heroes that are going to say no to more damage, but I definitely think they need to prioritize that higher in the next couple of picks. I was meaning that Lions should pick up the Faceless Void, but I suppose I wasn't very clear about that, and I still think it would be pretty solid here.
Yeah, I mean, Faceless Void is pretty darn good. I think actually with this Elder Titan, it gets a lot better for Virtus.Pro Polar. Like, even though you don't really want it with the Brewmaster, Earth Splitter does do a crap ton of damage if you could hit it.
Yeah, fair enough, and just the Faceless Void himself is going to be doing quite a lot with the Vengeance Aura as well as the Wave and Natural Order all boosting up his damage. Could be pretty insane, but for now, Lions are taking their time with this fourth pickup. There's nothing else that really screams that it really would fit into Lions. If Tidehunter wasn't banned out, maybe they go for that. But as far as direct synergies, there aren't any. All three of these heroes are really solid in their own right.
I think I see a Bat Rider in Lions' future. Just calling it, just saying it right now, but they need a hero for Era. They need a hero for Jonas Van. I'm assuming 8 Mother is once again going to be playing the Razor towards the mid lane. Usually that's a pretty safe assumption there, but as far as heroes that those two players like, Era is right now able to do pretty much anything. There's nothing that screams one way or another. Probably not Morphling for Lions up against an Elder Titan, but that's about it. So I would expect to see Jonas and Fan's hero get picked up right about now. Centaur, also looking pretty appealing right now.
Fair enough. Right now we have no idea what that hero is actually going to be, and Lions taking quite a bit of their time. They are completely in this game. Nobody's disconnected, just contemplating these next couple of picks, and fair enough as well. Not much left inside this draft.
All right, so as far as Lions pick, yeah, I think a Centaur is probably the safest way to go, although it's going to be Storm Spirit for Era once again, so I don't think we're going to be seeing an Axe again, but who knows? Anything is possible for Virtus.Pro. Seeing the Storm Spirit on the other end, suddenly they need a lot more crowd control effects, as before they didn't have to worry about any sort of mobility or anything like that with blinks or invisibility or anything like that, but now up against Ball Lightning, they need a lot more than a magic missile. Anti-Mage is not really the hero to aggressively kill off Storm Spirit, but defensively versus Storm Spirit, he's great. If you can mana void him after Storm Spirit initiates, he's just going to die because he's usually at less than half mana.
For sure. And in that sense, I'm okay with this pick for VP.P, and Illidan's Anti-Mage definitely is something that can win games, but all around, I quite like what Lions are bringing to the table. Virtus.Pro, it just kind of feels like they're taking this a little too passively. The Vengeful Spirit and Brewmaster, although they can play aggressively, with Elder Titan and Anti-Mage as the next two picks, especially with Elder Titan presumably played as a support, it just doesn't really feel that solid. Once the Orchid comes out for this Storm Spirit, hunting this Anti-Mage is going to be incredibly easy, and at BKB is almost mandatory for the AM.
5 seconds.
And that's not really the item that you want to be going for very early on in the Anti-Mage. It's perfectly fine to get it. Like, it's pretty standard, in fact, but you want to be getting your damage items up first. You want your Manta Styles, your Battle Furies, of course, your Bashers, items along those lines. But in order to vent against Storm Spirit, you need either a massive amount of team support, which right now is pretty much just Vengeful Spirit to help out against the Storm Spirit, or you need a BKB, and that's not really an option. There's not really a place where you want to be as an Anti-Mage. So Virtus.Pro, they have the hero for Illidan. They need one more hero. I'm assuming for DK Phobos, maybe Mag, as they tend to switch lanes quite frequently. But either way, they need some offlane here with a lot of lockdown power. They need to somehow pressure the Storm Spirit. As last game, well, we saw what happened. Era just got a little bit out of control with a little bit of help from Jonas and Van.
For sure. Right now, the old standbys and just the Centaur and Batriders seem to be at the top of the list. But out of those two, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do enough, although it's definitely necessary.
Yeah, maybe there's a deeper way they can go. Maybe they actually grab a Disruptor here and put Elder Titan in the offlane?
That could work. Just go for dual lanes. I think it depends on what Lions are going to pick up. Honestly, that Doom could have been really good for Virtus.Pro. Maybe you are thinking of going for that Elder Titan offlane after all.
So as far as that is concerned, he won't have the best times, as Elder Titans rarely have great times in lane. But if he does get a little bit going, then support hero generally is where the lockdown comes from. And I think that actually probably is the best way for Virtus.Pro to approach this game. They can reasonably assume at this point that Lions are not going to be pressuring the Anti-Mage a whole lot. So if your Anti-Mage gets a lot of farm, if he has answers to the Storm Spirit, then Virtus.Pro should be pretty darn safe. Lions, I don't think they're going to switch things up in a huge way. It should just be Storm Spirit top, Razor mid, someone for Jonas and Van bottom.
Fair enough. Right now, Lions getting down to the end of their reserve time. It does feel like it is going to be Jonas and Van 0. I wouldn't be opposed to them going for the Axe, but it is going to be the Faceless Void after all. It still combos really well with the Witch Doctor and the Razor, although Ogre and Storm Spirit don't combo excellently with the Chronosphere. Chronosphere is just a really scary tool to have at your disposal, especially if Faceless Void gets more farm than the Anti-Mage. Inside the duration of one Chrono can take down the AM pretty handily.
And as far as that pause effect is concerned, great up against the Anti-Mage, great up against the Brewmaster as well. Is not the strongest offlaner in the world, is actually a pretty weak one, but if he somehow gets through that weak early stage, then dropping Chronospheres on the Anti-Mage can just instantly win Lions a fight. And when you're talking about high risk, high reward, then killing off Anti-Mage is definitely worthwhile for the Lions. But for Virtus.Pro, they're going to be the ones to grab the Batrider. I would have expected, if anything, to be swapped, but it's still going to be, at the very least, some way that Virtus.Pro can answer the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. We'll just have to see how this pans out. I think Lions are going to be more than comfortable taking it late, but their mid game's also really strong. I think the lanes are going to be where things really start to shape up. Mid, Razor versus Brewmaster, one we see quite often. Razor should have pretty much a field day, although Drunken Haze is annoying. Anti-Mage going to get a lot of farm. Batrider should have a decent blink, and I think that's really the time where Virtus.Pro need to hit things hard once they get Brewmaster's Blink Dagger as well as the bats.
And it doesn't look like Lions have a lineup that could seriously punish those heroes. Like, yeah, they'll be able to maybe get a kill on them once or twice, but as far as completely shutting them down, making sure the Blink Daggers come out at like 17 minutes or something like that, it's most likely not going to happen. So it's going to be up to them to be reactive, and they have decent reactive heroes, but it's going to be a toss-up once those Blink Daggers do come online. But at any rate, we are in the third and final game, guys. Lions, they're going to be playing on the Dire once again. It's Era. Once again, on the Storm Spirit, going to be joined by Seal Kid's Witch Doctor and Handskin's Ogre Magi. Over towards mid, 8 Mother is going to be handling the Razor again, and we have Jonas and Van playing the Faceless Void.
And on the Radiant side, we are going to have Virtus.Pro Polar with DK Phobos handling the Brewmaster, probably going mid. The supports are going to be FNG on the Vengeful Spirit, Lil on the Elder Titan, and leaving Illidan Stormrage on his signature Anti-Mage in the safe lane farming position. Last but not least, our Batrider by Mag in the off lane.
Or is Illidan going to be in the bottom lane? It looks like it's going to be an Anti-Mage mid.
Why?
Yeah, because they can.
I really hate this choice coming up from Virtus.Pro Polar. Which matchup would be good for Anti-Mage in the mid? Out of all of these farming heroes, Storm Spirit probably wins the matchup versus Anti-Mage. Razor crushes the mid matchup versus Anti-Mage. And even Faceless Void does a fair bit of work. And at the best, I think Anti-Mage trades even in farm. I don't see the benefit of going for this. A faster Blink Dagger on the Brewmaster might be nice, but I think it's going to be sacrificing Illidan a little too much. Maybe I'm just underestimating the hero or the player. I definitely think that's a possibility, but I think it's really just mid Anti-Mage for the sake of mid Anti-Mage. I'd love to hear the player's idea behind this.
I think the reasoning, I'm not sure if this is like the reasoning, it's part of the reasoning, is that the Razor, okay, at this point, if you're a VP Polar, you know that the Razor is going to be going mid just because you're literally just got finished playing Storm Spirit up towards top, so you know your matchup. Anti-Mage is Razor-proof in that Static Link is not going to be connecting for very long because he could just do that, blink out immediately. So maybe they're going to figure that just Illidan versus 8 Mother is going to be fine even without the Static Link. I don't know if that's a reasonable assumption, as Razor is still a ranged hero and Illidan is still a very fragile melee hero, so there is that inherent advantage for 8 Mother, but if this was the Brewmaster instead, then Brewmaster would not have any answers to that Static Link, so he will be probably pressured a lot more than Illidan would be.
Fair enough. Batrider has completely abandoned his offlane, is going to be jungling from level 1, looking for the double stack. Isn't going to find it. The large creeps don't move far enough away from the spawn box, but it does get a double stack in the medium camp. It's not going to be the fastest of farm for Mag, but it's also not going to be the slowest. But this is completely conceding the top lane to Era. He is going to also free up Seal Kid and Handskin to look for roams, and with the Ogre Magi and the Witch Doctor, they definitely can look for kills. If Illidan's forced to use his Blink defensively every time a Link comes out from 8 Mother, right now he doesn't have the mana for it, there is potential to get that kill, and even if Blink is there, if they chain all of their stuns correctly and get a big enough damage from the plasma field, still could happen. Killing potential on the bottom lane is also pretty limited, and we're in for a passive early start.
Well, Illidan is actually doing a fantastic job against 8 Mother so far. The Razor one too many times getting too close to the Anti-Mage, which is generally what you want to be doing as Razor, but not up against this matchup. He lost all his mana. He doesn't have that much health going for him either, so if Anti-Mage keeps on burning out Razor, then he really doesn't have anything to worry about, and he's working with a damage advantage right now. He has more base, and he also has that the feedback effect to add just a little bit more. So if they get into a man fight, Illidan is going to be coming out on top in that as well. But Jonas Van up towards bottom is going to go for FNG, gets the kill right before the stomp lands. Jonas Van will be clubbed down, so he will be giving his life for that first blood, or will he? There we go. They're going to give it to DK Phobos. But still, it's a 1-for-1 trade that does benefit the offlane Void. He's level 3 off of that.
I was not expecting that to happen. It looks like he just got one too many bashes and was able to time walk forward from the Venge. It's really easy to get caught into a little bit of a rut when you're on a support, trading hits with the offlaner, and you can get caught off guard, especially when his Faceless Void on the returning end. Since he gets the first blood, I think it slightly favors him, but it's not a clear advantage towards the Void, since the Brewmaster is the one to get the kill, and I don't think Void bought out before he fell.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate for Jonas and Fan that he didn't get full benefit, but he needed that kill. He was getting zoned out completely by this support crew of Virtus.Pro Polar. Now he's level 3, now he's going to have a chance to get ACS, so Yay, 1 creep kill. It's fantastic for him, but Void is certainly going to be struggling, but it's a lot more than he would have expected otherwise. So Void doing, all things considered, okay for the Lions side. And they have Ira, who's, of course, in a 3 versus 0 lane, so things are going pretty well for him. Over towards mid, Illidan is doing pretty damn good against 8 Mother, so I would say the lanes overall fairly even. And that, of course, is going to benefit the side that is more explosive. And I'd say Mag, because he is jungling and because they are farming up on DK Phobos, that explosive aspect is going to be coming out from VP Polar once they pick up their Blink Daggers, as we already mentioned. But this kind of stalemate of farm is not going to last for very long.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm actually really surprised how well this anti-mage is able to do in mid, and I suppose I just underestimated mana break. He is maxing it out, and 8 Mother just can't get a decent link off. He's going for the build that I'd expect you to go for up against an anti-mage, and probably the right build at that. But yeah, Illidan having a grand time. Hero up towards top is also having pretty much free farm, as he should. Batrider didn't even go to that lane. But still, Storm Spirit's immediate impact with level 6, you can look for kills. But usually it's against your lane partner with some rotations, and right now that's not very clear. Link's going to start onto Illidan, he'll blink away, but not before 14 damage is stolen. That's annoying for the anti-mage, but not damning by any means.
Well, he might have to worry about a roaming crew. We got Seal Kid with an Invis joining up with Jonas and Fan. They're going to be running into Lil. Now, unless the cask bounces absolutely perfectly, which it seems like it's unlikely, they're not going to get this kill. In fact, Jonas and Fan is all the way over to the left side for some reason, looking for the Batrider. They're, of course, not going to find the Batrider, so it's a little bit unfortunate for the Lion side, but Jonas Fan will start a fist fight with Lil and gets a lucky first hit bash. Either way, rotation from Seal Kid, you kind of have to try to go for it when you're talking about an Invis rune, but it will result to nothing, and without even more setup from an Ogre Magi, they're also not going to be able to gank Anti-Mage. So this mid lane is doing, as you said, a lot better than you expected, doing a lot better than I expected. And Illidan right now is under 0 pressure. So pretty much no matter what the idea was behind it, the fact of the matter is Illidan is more or less free farming.
Yeah, right now Jonas Sunfan, the idea behind him going over to the sidelines is to soak experience from the Batrider. And if he timed that right, could be huge for him. A very long link actually onto Illidan is going to put an end to his reign in terror, at least for the next couple of seconds for 8 Mother. But still, looking fine for VP.P. Basis Void leaving the lane for a little bit, now completely zoned off as his tier 1 tower is pushed. It's not the fastest of pushes, but since he has no great way to pull off the creep aggro, and DK Phobos is just manhandling him with the clap as well as just a couple of smacks of the mace, it is going to be a tier 1 tower falling down in bottom, but it's going to be met by 1 up towards top as Ira's putting some pressure there.
Jonas and Fan is going to get a creep wave, or a creep wave and a half worth of experience. He also has support coming in Handskin and Seal Kid. Unfortunately, Void only level 4. Can't really contribute that much outside of just, hacking the RNG and getting a whole bunch of bashes. They will open up with Ignite. DK Phobos not quite level 6, so this is the time to go if there is a time to go, but Stomp is going to hit onto everyone and cancel all that. They're going to jump forward for more. Handskin, though, going to get clapped, dropping very low. These Voodoo Restoration of Seal Kid might buy him his escape. No, not quite enough, and DK Phobos also taking a little bit of damage, but not enough to be really scared. That's just going to be Lions feeding over 1 kill towards the VP Polar side.
And 1 kill that they really didn't need to give away. Mag having a great time inside the jungle since he's not been touched at all. Just a couple hundred gold until he has that Blink Dagger completed, and it's going to be faster than we saw the Axe get his in the game number 1. Although he didn't upgrade his boots, fair enough. Faceless Void down towards bottom, forced a time walk away on very low HP. Will survive. I think the Astral Spirit has already done damage to him and won't even be able to catch up. But still, Faceless Void is being pressured out. Storm Spirit gets the tier 1 tower up towards top, and now it's bottle running for himself on top of it all. But still, things are looking up for VP Polar. I think a lot depends on where Mag gets his first kill, or if he gets the first kill off of showing the Blink Dagger away. 70 damage stolen in the Anti-Mage in mid means that Illidan can't really last hit anything for the next couple of seconds, but still is looking fine. As far as who they should go on with this Batrider gank, where do you think is the most likely kill? None of these heroes are particularly great for killing.
It's definitely not going to be the bottom lane because there's no one there, and top lane there's also no one there this time on VP Polar side, so by process of elimination, I would say it's probably going to be 8 Mother because there are no more targets, or at least no more viable targets. So once that comes up, then 8 Mother's got to watch himself. Of course, he doesn't know what's happening right now, but it is most likely going to be whoever's in the middle lane just because there's never really anyone on bottom unless the Faceless Void does show his face, in which case order is Faceless Void, bottom lane, mid lane, then top lane for ganking.
Lil, incredibly low, is going to stack up a creep camp, or at least attempt to, with the Astral Spirit. I think that succeeds. Yes, it will. That's going to give a lot of gold to whoever picks that one up, and it looks like that person is going to be the Bat Rider. Just take him over the edge towards that Blink Dagger. Invis Rune is picked up. I didn't actually see who secured that. It is in the bottle of the Razor. In the meantime, Illidan gets himself a bottle refill from the Bounty. There's your Blink Dagger on the bat, and we'll see if the Razor is going to be at the receiving end of that. And at the same time, that's a Blink Dagger on your Brewmaster. Still has yet to use the split, but right now is a great time for VP Polar to get aggressive.
Yeah, so we got double Blink Daggers on VP Polar. This is the time to make a show of force. And once the Bat Rider gets back to base, he will have everything that he needs to make that play. I think VP Polar would also benefit of rotating everyone that they possibly can. Anyone they could spare towards the middle lane or wherever the Bat Rider is going to go, and it looks like that is going to be towards mid. Anti-Mage with maxed out Mana Break can very quickly drain out 8 Mother of his mana, but the Mana Void, even though 8 Mother, let's say he has 0 mana, won't be doing that much. It's only pretty much just a 200 damage nuke. A little bit less than that. A little bit more than that. I don't know. Let's say 200 damage, let's say 250, but they're going to need a little bit more, especially with Jonas and Fan here. No Chronosphere, and that might be Jonas and Fan's death. Gets lassoed back into the Spirit and the right clicks of Anti-Mage. No Mana Void needed. They also stomp up 8 Mother, and they do have Detection here. A couple more hits, not quite going to do it, as 8 Mother is still invisible. But it's a clean kill nonetheless, showing off their Blink Dagger, and that's pretty much what you would expect from a Bat Rider.
Definitely. The Blink Dagger of the Brewmaster still has yet to be shown off, but 8 Mother completely drained out, can't get off a single spell. Paralyzing Gas bouncing back to Illidan. They don't get another lucky bounce, and Illidan's going to be able to blink out there to safety, kind of as to be expected. But still, this Faceless Void really isn't picking up anything. Even if he had the Chronosphere available, Mana Drain is super annoying up against Faceless Void at this point. Especially if he uses a Time Lock previous. There's just not a chance he's getting off that Chrono.
Hell, it's annoying up against everyone from Lions at this point. Like, Illidan maxing out that skill very early. He's going to get into a fist fight with Jonas and Fan, but suddenly Jonas and Fan is completely out of mana. He has to either fight or die right now. Illidan has a Mana Void, which will do next to nothing, but Magic Missile coming in. He will get that kill, but here comes Ira, hitting Illidan with the ball lightning. Will make it a 1-for-1 trade as Ira collects his first kill of the game. Overall, I think Lions should be pretty okay with how that went, unless 8 Mother goes down right now. DK Phobos watching his Blink Dagger, thinking he was a little bit closer. Unfortunately, didn't land the clap. He's also ready to fight right now. We have yet to see a split, but once that happens, usually you can count on it winning you a fight.
Yeah, right now Virtus Pro Polar, even though they got good farm to start off on the Anti-Mage, he has really slowed down quite a bit, which is not something you're used to seeing on an AM. He currently has the Ring of Health in the bottle, which is kind of nice to sustain him, but at this point, Lions kind of have the Anti-Mage's number. He's really just needing a little bit more space. Honestly, this game, more than most, I'd love to see him go for a Maelstrom build, just kind of a budget farming build, especially after backing off for the bottle, but that's just not going to be in the cards. With already going for the Ring of Health, there's no reason to go for that now. Jonas Sunfan, again, going into a fist fight. This didn't work out the first time, and it's not going to work out the second. Completely drained of mana, and Illidan, without getting bashed, is going to be completely fine.
So Jonas and Fan went back to the base after dying, and then he walked down to the bottom lane, and then he instantly got his mana drain, dropped down to half HP, and then has to go all the way back to base, and then all the way out again. Just a small play from Anti-Mage, shutting down the Faceless Void for however long it takes for him to make that long trek. And Jonas Fan's going to be, all the while, not getting experience, so Faceless Void's Chronosphere is going to be delayed. And at this point, it is just ridiculously delayed. Like, if you compare him to the Bat Rider, obviously not the fairest comparison, but he's level 8 right now. This Faceless Void needs his Chronosphere if he's going to be doing anything. Without it, he's 100% useless. This is the point of a Faceless Void offlane. You get your level 6, you scrape it together, then you help your team. And, well, the first part needs to come true for the second part to come true. And it's not going to happen. He's constantly pressured out of lane.
And I think one of the biggest things that needs to happen for him to be able to help his team is that Seal Kid needs his level 6. And this is a decent way to do it. Smoking up with Handskin, they have some backup from Era if they catch out, especially with this Elder Titan over on the sidelines. Lil's also smoked up, and they don't have vision of him directly. Looking for the stomp is not going to connect, but now with eyes onto the Elder Titan, they're instead going to look for a bigger fish to fry. DK Phobos gets off his split, now turning into Handskin. Handskin is completely up the river. There's not much that they can do. They'll link up one of the Brewlings and can't migrate away. Pulling the sidelines, focus down Lil. Lil dropping low. Lil is going to fall. Just one more auto attack is all that they need. Razor up in the air, but gets off 147 damage stolen. He's going to be able to right-click down the Bat Rider. Mana Void onto Era, dropping low, but not dead yet. Is able to run away. Goes for a little bit of an awkward path. One more blink from Illidan will be his demise, but it's only level 2 in the paralyzing cast between 2F and G, and the Anti-Mage obliterated. Triple kill for 8 Mother, somehow stealing both of those away from the Witch Doctor, but my goodness, that Death Ward could not have come at a better time.
3 versus 5 and Lions come out on top. Are you kidding me? Faceless Void still in the bottom lane. Happy to get a free lane, of course, but Hanskin's tankiness helping him survive right there until he disconnects on top. That was kind of unfortunate. Ogre Magi is completely screwed, and I don't think even if he retreated, he would have been fine, but either way, Hanskin knows he's dead. Better buy up some items, I guess. Get your magic wand finished up, but yeah, I don't think this is time to show mercy. He's going to get stunned up, and they will beat him down. There we go. Elderton grabbing the kill, but still, Lions take a massive team fight off of that one, and I think it was due in part because Mag, before that fight really broke out, he blinked in for the Razor, but didn't get his lasso off. Even though he was close enough, he just messed up. So there was no initiation on VP Polar's terms. Era went nuts with the Storm Spirit, and all that combined means, and of course that ridiculous cast Death Ward combo, like it doesn't get much better than that. It's Lions taking a definitive victory, and also now they have a Chronosphere, so next time it's going to be a little bit easier for them.
Yeah, Virtus.Pro Polar, they're not without tools for themselves to take those fights, but still things are looking up for Lions, currently tied up 6-6, and if you look at the raw advantage, it's hardly in the favor of Virtus.Pro Polar. 500 gold and negligible amounts of experience. It's looking up for them, and it looks like this first Chronosphere might be on bottom. Jonas Sunfan has a great angle onto the AM, going to drop it onto Illidan, but Magic Missile is going to delay some of that damage. Swap out from the Vengeful Spirit, it's going to save Anti-Mage's life, although Illidan's standing there, will blink away. Vengeful Spirit is going to pay the piper for that defense.
Hey, a kill is a kill, and though it's not necessarily getting a kill on the Anti-Mage, it's good enough. DK Vosloo gonna jump towards Era, gonna fall short on the damage department. Illidan looking for a Mana Void, won't quite find it. Finds the Steel Kid kill instead, which is also pretty darn good. Multicast onto Illidan in response, but Era needs a little bit more health, a little bit more regen before he could actually rejoin the fight. And Mother stuck on the high ground. That's not where you want to be. Is Mag really gonna drag him down to the low ground? No, he already dragged him up. It looked like he was lassoing him again for some reason. A-Mother is going to just go to count Illidan, who blinked up here for some reason. He can't leave. You don't want to fight a Razor with Eye of the Storm plus 84 damage. That's not going to work out. In the meantime, Hanskin, he's going to get beaten down by the Brewlings. And A-Mother is going to have a clean TP. Are you kidding me? My God. Okay, Razor just did that.
That was one of the most awkward cliffings of a hero I've ever seen. Mag drags him up to the cliff and probably should have just left him there. He tries to turn around, gets 84 damage soloing out of him, and then tries to fight up against him, gets a couple of stacks, drops too low, can't do anything. Then Anti-Mage comes up there. Like, that should never happen ever. They probably should have just tried to help on the sidelines. That goes a lot better for Lions than, quite honestly, it should have.
Yeah, that should not have gone that well. As normally when you lose a hero like that, and I am going to say that putting a Razor up on the high ground is essentially him dying. That just, well, he's dead. Like, he shouldn't be doing anything up there. You can't touch anybody. And well, VP Polar voluntarily put themselves in a really bad position after that. So I guess they were kind of asking for it, but now things are going to get really difficult for VP Polar. Their Blink Daggers helped them a couple of times, but I would say not enough. And now Era has an Orchid available. This is going to be spotted out, however, by the VP Polar's Observer Ward down in the bottom lane, so it looks like Lil is going to be A-okay. But still, Era is going to be able to put out some serious damage and threat to anyone he runs into. And for VP Polar, their Blink Daggers aren't quite cutting it. Vlad's on the Brewmaster maybe going to help. At this point, they have to just get better team fights, get initiation on their terms, and buy space for Illidan, and hopefully have Illidan not die.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest question for them. Anti-Mage, they're going to pursue him. They do have a Chronosphere, but can't connect. Illidan is going to be able to blink out to safety and has the Venge behind him on top of it all. But still, in a good game, Anti-Mage would be done with his Battle Fury now, and he's not really close. Still about 1,400, 1,500 gold till he has that. And somehow Faceless Void has been able to farm himself up a hand of Midas. It's not a fast Midas by any means, but it's going to keep him inside this game. Illidan isn't going to be able to carry this immediately on his back. He needs about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, and by that time, Jonas Fan is going to have the best answer you could possibly have against a Anti-Mage Chronosphere up, and it will probably be level 2, if not level 3, by the time Anti-Mage is really happy going in. It's going to be up to FNG with the swaps, and that is reasonable as a counter to the Faceless Void, but still then you're down your Vengeful Spirit, and that's not great either. It looks like it's going to be a tier 1 tower trade for now, so pretty even across the board as far as that is concerned. Pretty sure Lions, they still really don't want to be fighting. They just want to play this a little bit slower. But yeah, the tower trades are going to be there and maybe not over yet. Jonas Van, Seal Kid, they're going to start working on the mid-tier 1. It is fortified, or fortifiable once again, but they're maybe looking to bait someone in to defend. And it looks like they're going to find a whole bunch of heroes, maybe a little more than they bargained for.
Yeah, I think they're capable of taking this fight as long as they get a decent Chronosphere off that doesn't catch out any of his allies. They might be able to focus down one hero, but instead they'll just fall back, farm up in their other lanes, and at the very least they force a reaction from Virtus.Pro while they're farming up the enemy jungle, putting some pressure on the bottom lane, and getting some farm up on their Void. Their tier 1 tower and mid's also going to be pressured by Illidan, but it's looking decently healthy, and I don't think it's going to be taken, at least in this wave. Unless Lions just want to go for a full-on trade, they can take a tier 2 tower pretty easily.
8 Mother is not quite at that Aghanims, however he is building towards it, so the pushing power from Lion's not the highest. They're just trying to force someone from VP Polar back right now, as VP Polar kind of trying to do the exact same thing, although they are going to win this race, if you could even call it a race, by taking down the mid tier 1. However, fight on the sidelines, Ira's going to find Mag initiation on the Lion's terms, Cass going to bounce through with the Death Ward, going to hit Illidan on the way out. In the meantime, Brewmaster loses one of his aspects down to the low ground. That's the high damage one. The Earth one is also going to lose all his damage. This Brewmaster ultimate is going to do absolutely nothing. In the meantime, Ira's going to try to chase forward for Illidan. That's a little bit bold from him. It's not going to work out. But it looks like everyone else from VP Polar, they are going to back off after just losing Mag. However, the split is down. Now is the time for Lions to actually fight because they still have a Chronosphere.
Yeah, Anti-Mage has his Battle Fury, and that's nice and all for Illidan. He is going to be able to farm very quickly with it. But yeah, that initiation probably couldn't have gone any better for Lions, especially after just a very early, easy pickoff on the Batrider from the Storm. And then Brewmaster, I can't say that he whiffed his split. The decision to split is fine, but just some unlucky RNG drops the fire aspect down there.
And that's the one that does most of the right-click damage. It is up there with the Earth one, and Earth one was linked up, so that was doing no damage either. So Virtus.Pro, they're down their heavy hitting ultimate, and the fact that Brewmaster has no ulti for a minute. It looks like Lions pushing really isn't part of their game plan, so I think this is perfectly fine. Getting a couple more items on their heroes, especially giving more time for the Faceless Void to get bigger, is worth the wait. But it's them just getting a kill in the end. Like, it's Batrider down, and Ira is able to do that because at this point, level 12 is a Storm Spirit. Whoever he jumps on is going to be taking a hell of a lot of damage. Anti-Mage might have enough with Spell Shield to not outright die, but he won't be able to blink either. He is, with everyone else on VP Polar, more or less just food for the Storm Spirit if they're alone.
More or less. Right now, the Storm Spirit's going to be going for a Lincoln Sphere, and once he has that, the ability for Virtus.Pro to actually kill the Storm is incredibly limited. Illidan dropping low, farming up some Ancients, but his farm is going to start picking up, which is nice for him and all. But still, every single spell that Virtus.Pro throw out is going to be impactful if it's blocked by Ira, even the Drunken Haze, which is probably the best one that they can use to break it, sans Force Staffs and Yule Scepters, which aren't available yet.
And once that comes up, Ira's going to be just running around wild without answers or without any definitive answers. And he's thinking about going for Lil, and he will make the jump in. Orchid, not quite there yet. He's really going to save the Orchid right now. Okay, he's going to get the kill and then dodge Mag's attempt at lassoing him. There is no Blink Dagger, no Force Staff. Ira, not with the most mana in the world right now, but he does have support coming in the form of Handskin. DK Phobos is going to blink forward, looking for a cutoff on 8 Mother. FNG also desperately wants to get in range of a swap, but that's not going to happen either. 8 Mother actually doesn't have a TP out, so they might catch this Razor. So it is going to be a kill for the VP Polar side, and overall, I think that they have to be pretty happy about that. Like, it's unfortunate that Razor didn't have a TP scroll, but you should have a TP scroll when you're that deep in the enemy base.
Yeah, he does buy one over in the side shop towards the end, but at that point it's a little too late. Tier 1 tower in mid is going to fall one way or another. Let's see if the Deny is going to come out. They lasso up Handskin, pull him back behind the tower. He's going to be immediately woken up. The Tier 1 still hasn't fallen. Will be secured by the catapult, but they're going to lose Handskin for it. Turns around for a double multicast, and with a Death Ward, Lil might lose his life again, and indeed will do so. Seal Kid low, but not low enough. Has his stick charges, is going to get Magic Missile, and probably going to be forced to pop those at some point or another. Negative earn, he's actually going to save all 15 of them. Instead of going down across the map, it's a 1 for 4.
Yeah, they also lose Storm Spirit off to the side. I don't exactly know what happened after that. I assume just dropped him low on mana. He was trying to escape or something, and then he ran straight into a mana void. But it looked great for Lions. Just get the pick off on the Elder Titan, then fall back. But they get a little bit too comfortable, which is something we've been seeing from Lions in their games. They get off to a decent start, and then they just feel invulnerable, and then they get punished for it. Sometimes it really costs them. Sometimes it doesn't. The times it doesn't is when they had the axe in the last game. That's one of the prime examples of when getting overconfident doesn't punish you. But this is a game where they're not as far ahead as I think they are. And they need to play a little bit more cautiously because Jonas Fan, he's going to get stunned up. Nice swap from FNG, swapping DK Phobos out so that he could land the Magic Missile. And Faceless Void with the Mask of Madness is going to very quickly take a fall.
Yeah, unless you get a backtrack there, I think you're completely screwed. And it was very cleanly played by VP.P. And Faceless Void with only 1 point in the backtrack, can't really hope for it at all. Void is going to be able to farm decently fast, but Illidan is starting to pick up quite a lot of steam. Yasha now, as well as 2,300 gold on top of it. All it takes is a couple of minutes for Illidan to soak all of the farm out of the map, and Lions definitely need to tighten up the screws, or else he's going to run away with it.
Yeah, so this is definitely more of a close game that we've seen in the past couple of games. So a great way to end the series, I suppose, but for Lions, they are still working with the Chronosphere, and that is going to be pretty darn deadly right now. Faceless Void, I don't think, is going to get to a point where he's just this 6-slotted monster that VP Polar are not going to be able to deal with. Probably not in the cards, although he has a Hand of Midas. It's possible, but unlikely. The Razor has an item that is going to let Lions actually make plays right now, the Aghanim Scepter. Before, if they were going to go for a push, it would be fine, like they kill off the creeps, and then they get to the tower, and they don't really do anything after that. Now they can actually force the fights out of VP Polar. I don't know if that's what they want to do, but it's something that they can do. And if they start by killing off DK Phobos, now that's going to be quite the fight. It looks like they're going to fall back, and it's going to be up on top where we have initiation onto Illidan. He's going to Manta Style out of the Fire Blast. He will be just fine.
Yeah, not much else that they can go on to him. However, he is going to be pulled back without the Manta Style. He can't get out of the Orchid Silence, but now it's Era. He's forced to zip all the way back out of there. It's going to zip TP the full 9 yards. And that is going to be Ogre also making it back to base. Nobody's actually going to die, although both teams posturing very aggressively.
Yeah, so we have ourselves a little bit of a farming game right now. As dangerous as an anti-mage is if he's 6-slotted, there are just more dangerous cores on the Lion side, or not cores that are more dangerous, but numerically there are more of them. As a 6-slotted Razor with a 6-slotted Faceless Void, 6-slotted Storm Spirit, like these are all dangerous threats in the late game, so Anti-Mage, he's farming up an absolute storm, but at a certain point, he's going to need someone else on his team to really pick up the slack. I would assume it's going to be the Brewmaster, but I don't really know if that's in the cards because he might get jumped right now. You're going to make a long jump in, will prompt DK Phobos to blink out, but only a little bit of mana spent, not a terribly huge deal there.
Yeah, especially when you have the bottle with multiple charges as well as the Soul Ring. Yeah, he's going to be just fine, and doesn't really cost him anything. However, the tier 2 tower up top going to take quite a bit of damage. Illidan pops a Manta Style, and although the Glyph comes out, it's still going to take some pretty damning damage. As VP Polar aren't contesting up against anything, since it looks like Lions want to go for the classic tier 2 tower for Roshan trade, and they're taking it very slowly. The tier 2 tower has already fallen, and VP Polar can look to make a defense. They have great heroes at fighting around the Roshan pit, mostly the Batrider as well as the Elder Titan, but pretty much everybody offers something. And Lions just aren't taking this fast enough. We'll have to see. It's going to be really close. I think they'll get the Aegis, but the fight afterwards might go completely south.
Well, Roshan is down. Illidan going to jump right in. Has to be really careful about getting stunned. Looks like he's going to get silenced and pulled back a mile away. Mother, though, going to get lasted at the exact same time. Jonas Van Era dropping so low. In fact, Jonas Van going to die before Chronosphere. Era now completely out of mana, though he does have the Aegis, is completely alone. He is going to lose his life. 8mother getting the mech out a little bit too late, is now being chased down by a whole bunch of Brewlings. Seal kill with his regen. Trying to keep everyone alive as Jonas Van looking for an angle to reinitiate. Where is Era in the meantime? He's trying to go for FNG. Will take that kill. Now the Chronosphere onto Lil and DK Phobos resuming his main form. They're going to instead decide to focus onto Mag. I think that's the right decision. Then kill off the Brewmaster. He's still silenced. Illidan is going to try to jump in. Mana Void going to connect onto 3 heroes. Do a lot of damage, but it won't be enough to actually kill them all off. Now he's going to be brought down. That's a triple kill for 8mother. A double for Era, a double for Illidan. But Lions, they come out ahead as Illidan's Mana Void. It was amazing. It truly was, but it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, if he was able to get that Mana Void off and was right next to Razor, maybe that's a cleanup on all of the heroes of Lions. And in a different game with slightly different positioning, it could have been completely turned around for VP.P. It's 3 plus a dieback on the Void, so 4 for 5. It's not the cleanest of victories for Lions, but it still works out for them pretty well. They burn through the Aegis on top of it also. I think both teams are going to be okay with that, but Lions definitely getting the better half of that exchange.
Yeah, especially since they took down the Roshan beforehand, so they already start things off with a golden experience advantage off of the Tower for Roshan trade. So for Lions, they are going to be feeling pretty comfortable, especially since Handskin, I believe, as well as 8mother survived that. I think it was the Ogre to live. So, you know, they got some pretty serious rewards off of that one, especially this Ogre who's going to be going for a Yule Scepter, in answer to the Anti-Mage, or, you know, in answer to the Batrider, in answer to all of VP Polar we saw in the last game. And 8mother, he's going to be well on his way to a BKB. You would expect a team 30 minutes into the game with a Brewmaster split to be outright winning them, but it just is falling just a little bit short for Virtus Pro Polar. They were so close, but close just doesn't cut it. They're going to look to reinitiate, maybe on the mid lane. That's not going to happen. Also, I think it's worth noting that I kind of glanced over it. Faceless Void did buy back there, so it was a victory for Lions, but it did cost them.
Yeah. It's the Lincoln Sphere now complete up on the Storm Spirit, however, and, well, Illidan looking behind the enemy tier 2 tower where it once stood. The blinking with DK Phobos. The blink is going to be started by 8 Mother Chronosphere on the sidelines, trying to focus down Illidan. He just doesn't have the damage for it. This is such a hectic fight, pulling back Mag. They don't focus down anybody. The Faceless Void's first to fall. Death Ward being challenged, but not for long. The Flame Break cancel it, but not before the Batrider falls. They are going to get the Mechanism heal to help out Zealkid, but he's also going to die. Mana Void attempted by the Anti-Mage. I think that was thrown into the Lincoln Sphere coming out from Era, but now focus him down like the normal way. It's going to bring him down, but it's a triple kill for A-Mother, who's gone unanswered in this fight, getting off quite a long duration link and fighting in the Eye of the Storm. Never a good idea. It's 3 for 3. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an even fight, but that was a fight that Virtus Pro Polar should have taken a lot better. They got the ideal initiation off. They had Anti-Mage on one target, Batrider on another. They should have just gotten those kills very quickly and then left, but Lions just tanky enough. The Storm Spirit escaped his pursuer, and though he did go down in the end, he ended up, as you said, eating the Mana Void with the Lincoln Sphere, which I believe was picked up like relatively close to that fight. I don't really know when that was purchased, but surprising Illidan for sure, and ended up giving Lions a much better fight. Once again, it's 8 Mother to survive. 9-1-3 now with the BKB completed, and another 1,800 gold in the bank. The Zeal Scepter ready for the Ogre Magi. Lions are getting some pretty nice items on all the heroes that are surviving, and they're just taking the fights better than Virtus Pro Polar at this stage, and that was even with a mediocre to bad Chronosphere and a Death Ward that was channeled for, what, a second? That's it. So Lions, this Razor with the Aghanim Scepter is doing some serious work for their side.
It really is. Illidan's still keeping up, but nobody else on his team really is benefiting from that. And even the Anti-Mage himself, he now has a Basher, but it's this kind of all-in from Illidan. He kind of needs to look for kills now. He wants to delay that BKB as much as possible, and I can respect that. But I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. Right now, Razor's just so hard for them to bring down. Between Mechanism Heal, BKB, Aghanim Scepter, Power Treads, 8 Mother is going to be sitting on the front lines. And with that Aghanim Scepter, Eye of the Storm running, Virtus Pro Polar can't really afford to ignore him either.
All right, so Illidan right now is wandering through the enemy woods. He has to be really careful. He does not know that there is no vision here. So fortunately for him, he's going to be just fine. And everyone else from Lions, they're going to be on the right side of the map. So Illidan not going to be punished, but for right now, VP Polar have to be so careful. If they lose Illidan, like just by Storm Spirit, if he zips in, grabs the right one, and brings him down, then the fight is just over for VP. It's pretty much no questions asked. So much relies upon this Illidan Anti-Mage at this point, whereas for Lions, they've lost the Storm Spirit, they've lost the Faceless Void, yet still the Razor is able to do the job. I would say VP Polar can convincingly kill off 2 of the cores, but not all 3.
Fair enough. Right now, we're potentially looking at a fight brewing up in the Radiant side of the woods. They're collapsing upon Era, but he's invised up, and they don't have vision over him. And in fact, it might be turned around onto Illidan. They have the Orchid and a pull. Not enough backup. They are going to go for it either way. There's a swap coming out for the Venge, but she hasn't spent it yet. A blink away will keep Illidan safe. Looking for the Chronosphere. It's going to whiff completely. Doesn't connect onto anything. FNG going to get the Ghost Scepter off, but now they focus on Jonas Sunfan dropping low. Him and the Witch Doctor are going to be the cost of this fight, even after a couple of lucky backtracks. Swap coming back. It is going to pull Handskin out. But then again, FNG going to need a Fire Blast to the face, dropping low, and Era should be able to clean up this kill. 2 for 1 to start things off, but now 8 Mother joining the fight. Illidan will get a Mana Void off an Handskin, dropping everybody pretty darn low, but not low enough. One blink clap is going to secure a double kill for TK Phobos, but Anti-Mage lost his life. The sleep to disengage might be enough, as that's going to stop 8 Mother as well as Era from going for anything more.
Man, when you botch a Chronosphere like that, when your Razor is out of commission for the entirety of that fight, no static link damage stolen at all, you expect to lose it, but they turn around and get the most important kill on the Anti-Mage, and even though numerically it does come out in favor of Virtus Pro Polar, I would say just because the Anti-Mage did fall means that Lions are going to be so happy about that. Like, they killed off the Anti-Mage. He's not that tanky, so as far as killing him off, it's not the most difficult of tasks, but it is one of the most important things that they can possibly do. So it's going to be pretty nice for them, and hopefully for Jonas Fan, he's going to get his act together and land a one-man Chronosphere, you know, fingers crossed, but at the very least, it was a decent fight for Lions, which should have been a disaster.
It really should have been. This Razor is getting really out of control. 8 Mother is going to have a refresher soon. I expect to be built out of that Perseverance. However, they do find Lil, and he's going to drop on impact the Yule Scepter as well as the Remnant. Actually, that was his own Yule Scepter, so not any damage applied there, didn't matter. He was still able to secure that kill. Pretty easy peasy.
And he could do that, as I said before, to pretty much anyone. Anti-Mage, probably the exception. That was awfully bold from Ira to actually start that fight, seeing the Vengeful Spirit right next to the Anti-Mage. And also, I mean, I guess he assumed that his team was going to come help, but that was incredibly bold for him to even try. He's going to try that again, I think. This time, Ogre Magi is going to run to Illidan's Storm Range. He blinked into this. Now Chronosphere is there. Ira on the outset of the Chronosphere. Illidan's down. Oh my god, you blinked into the wrong neighborhood, AM. He's going to take a fall, and he's down for 70 seconds.
Yeah, that was... I don't know. The idea is fine by Illidan, but they're completely blind inside the enemy jungle, except for this ward here, but that does not give you control over really anything inside the jungle. It's kind of nice to have that vision, but it's just not something you can comfortably do, and these three heroes in particular are missing off the map. Razor and Witch Doctor, although they can contribute, can't lock you down. There's just too much coming out from these three between Fire Blast, Pull, and Chronosphere. And when it's just an anti-mage that's fed to on a silver platter, Jonas Sunfan better not miss that Chrono.
8Mother's going to start this series of pushing off with stealing a lot of damage, gets the BKB off before the lasso. Also, that charge is going to slow down Mag. He's going to turn around and fight 2v4. Here comes Ira. He's going to zip right in. However, the split comes out just in time, and the sleep onto Seal Kid. He will die in the duration of that. Handskin also taking a lot of damage. Will use himself up into the air for a little bit more time. Will drop into a multicast onto Mag Ignite. Will kill off this Batrider in the end. 8Mother's still kiting around all of these spirits, doing so much damage in the process. Ira and Jonas Fan, they're not even fighting right now. They're going to rejoin the fight onto Lil, who's right now hitting for nothing. FNG going to swap the Elder Titan out, so it won't be the worst fight in the world for VP. Man, that should have been a lot worse. Like, they get alive with so many heroes that should have gone down, quite honestly. So, Lions, they don't take the cleanest fight there, but 8Mother showing what a brick wall he is. You can't get through the Razor, you can't kill the Razor, you can't initiate on the Razor. What can you do against the Razor? If Ira had a little bit more mana, if he got that Orchid off on the Brewmaster, a clean sweep of Virtus Pro heroes.
For sure. That would have been both of their supports surviving. It was crucial to have them doing the damage and locking down those supports, especially through that Earth Splitter. Yeah, right now it's definitely not over for Virtus Pro Polar, but oh, Illidan, he's going to get pulled back. Ira looking for the solo. They have the Chronosphere, and I've seen this story before, and it doesn't end well for Illidan. Going to be killed, even though Ira gets smashed by Roche.
Oh, and he wants more. He's going to go for FNG. Silence Up, has a Ghost Scepter. Maybe is going to buy him sometime. Pull status, not there for the Storm Spirit. He's actually low on mana as well. Josephine wants in, but I don't think he's supposed to go in here. He's going to back off. He's not going to be punished, but Anti-Mage, once again, in the wrong neighborhood, in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the wrong place is always in the middle of the Chronosphere with Ira outside of the Chronosphere. With no Anti-Mage, it's going to be so hard for Virtus Pro Polar to contest this Roshan.
Yeah, and they should be able to take this one very easily. Roshan really can't be contested by Virtus Pro. They'll throw out a Spirit for scouting, and it catches eyes onto Seal Kid, but even if they all started running there now, they're not going to get in position, much less take that fight. Roshan, that's going to be a double life for Ira, as well as completed Bloodstone on him. Having a great time on this Storm Spirit, and it's not slowing down at all. 8Mother also has a refresher for double Eye of the Storm action, and double BKB. Virtus Pro Polar, how are they going to deal with this? Lions are looking so strong right now.
Numerically, this game is in favor of Lions, albeit not by much. So Virtus Pro Polar, their anti-mage, he just has to not die. And I said that before, but he clearly has not gotten the memo. Died 8 times, which is about 7 more times than you can realistically expect on your anti-mage. You need him to be always surviving those fights. You need him to be the last one standing. And if Lions keep on getting initiation on the anti-mage as they have been, then it's just going to be impossible for the Virtus Pro Polar side to get anything done in this game, as the rest of their heroes, though Brewmaster is farming pretty well, his impact just isn't there. In fact, he's above the anti-mage. I don't know how that happened. I think it's just because DK Phobos has been surviving, but even with more farm in the anti-mage, his impact is less.
Yeah, he's effectively just an aura carrier, which is fine and all for a Brewmaster, and he gets off his split, but at a certain point that just isn't enough. He's able to live in the fights but not do much else. He can kill off the supports, but Razor, Void, Storm Spirit don't really care that much, especially if BKBs come out eventually. Void is still pretty darn poor, but still out-farming his counterpart in the Batward, and as this game goes later, that's really scary for VP.P. At this point, you really want Illidan to be at the top of the net worth and to be absolutely running this show. Having like a Heart or a BKB, Heart and BKB on top of what he already has, But yeah, there just really is an opening, especially if he gets picked off like that
Oh,
again. They're going to
Ira's
smoke, but oh, it's going to be instantly popped. Ira is going to pull back Lil, going for an awkward angle. Is going to be able to focus him down. The Yule Scepter to delay. BKB on DK Phobos, critting down Ira. He'll still kill off Lil, but now in the meantime, oh, they are going to pop that ultimate coming out from 8 Mother. They will snap back with that Earth Splitter. It just doesn't do enough damage. They kill off the Witch Doctor, but that's about it. Ira has the Aegis. Even if he falls here, he's not going to actually die, and he's not even going to do that. Brewmaster is going to come back in his normal form fairly soon. Illidan jumping in, but immediately Chronosphere as he jumps. He's now going to be focused down by the double Eye of the Storm. Nice swap from FNG is going to save his life for a little bit longer, but he's forced to run a very awkward angle. If Era had more mana, he could go for that zip pretty much solo. Looking for the Fire Blast. Illidan escapes death, but only just. Still a 1 fight for Lions.
And Ira still has his Aegis. That was a 3-for-1 trade in favor of Lions. They perfectly initiate onto Virtus Pro Polar. They split them up. They reserve the Chronosphere for just the Faceless Void, which is, oh, well, Ira's going to get obliterated. Lincoln Sphere popped by Phobos, Drunken Haze, and then Illidan jumping with the Mana Void. So Lions, they end up losing the Aegis in the end, but Ira's now back at full HP, and they will take a tower off of that one. 8 Mother's ultimate was ticking throughout the entirety of that. In fact, it was a double ultimate. So lots of minus armor there in Virtus Pro Polar. Their Brewmaster, like, he split there very early on. I personally didn't even notice it. Like, he was trying to go for 8 Mother, but good luck doing that. It's just not going to happen. So it's a lost fight once again for Virtus Pro Polar. They lose a tier 2 tower off this. Illidan has to be so careful right now. He knows that there's no Chronosphere on the other end, so that's why he's playing so fast and loose. But if there is a Chronosphere, then he's in so much trouble. They're going to initiate once again. Who's it going to be? Mag jumping in. No lasso. Actually, it got snapped or something. He didn't do anything with it. Now the Handskin's going to take a lot of damage. Dual Scepter going to save him for a little bit as DK Phobos charges forward with the BKB. He will have a split in 5 seconds, but he gets sound swapped out from FNG, once again playing the superhero, and he gets forced out down to the low ground, so everyone on VP Polar is going to survive. But that was supposed to be their initiation, and they were suddenly turned upon. I guess lucky for the Brewmaster that FNG is on the ball and has been playing on the ball for this entire game.
Not just this game, but the entire series. FNG has been impressing me at the very least. That's BKB on cooldown for both the Batrider and the Brewmaster. Lucky enough, they don't use the split for that, and they'll have Lasso back up very soon. But still, Lions, they can just sit back and chill. Mjolnir now picked up by the Faceless Void, going for more or less just a completely glass cannon build. Not sure if it's warranted. I'd like to see an Aghanim Scepter in the future for Jonas Sunfen, or BKB. Presumably both. But either way, things are looking up for them. They can just sit back, chill, wait for the next Aegis. I don't think there's really much pressure at all in Lions right now.
Yeah, they're going to get a hell of a lot of farm. With this Razor now packing a plate mail item, Assault Cuirass should be the build for him, as Assault Cuirass with double Eye of the Storm is just disgusting. Like, it is just so ridiculously scary. With that item, with the Faceless Void getting consistent farm from his Hand of Midas and Ira, he has not picked up an item for quite a long time, though he is sitting on a lot of cash. Where you compare that all to the Anti-Mage, he has gotten nothing so far. Like, I think the last purchase was the Basher, and that was like 10 minutes ago, or at least.
Yeah, it might even be longer than that. He just hasn't been able to find anything. He is close to getting up a major component towards his next big item, but still, Illidan's completely fallen off, it feels. Anti-Mage generally functions by getting ahead over the enemy team as far as farm is concerned. On even footing, up against the Storm, Razor, and Faceless Void, it doesn't really cut it, especially when the Storm and the Razor are above you.
And the rest of the heroes for VP Polar, Lil needs to stay alive for the entire fight so that at the very least he can contribute that natural order. Everyone else in VP Polar just seems like they're just not doing anything, and that's partially because they're not as farmed as Lions, partially because they just, the way the heroes work, don't contribute as much as Lions heroes. But right now, Lions, they're sitting pretty. They just have to make sure not to take a botched team fight. They've been playing the team fights in a very fragile way, in that if they messed up with a single one of those spells, then suddenly Illidan breaks free and he just goes nuts on your entire team. And Lions have to be very careful about that. But as long as they are, and they have been, then they can slow down this game as much as they want. And they, well, not going to jump onto DK Phobos, never mind. But they're getting farm on the Witch Doctor and the Ogre Magi as well. They both have Aghanim Scepters in the works. Whereas for VP Polar, their supports are, getting some items here and there. And these are good items to have as well. But these are just survivability items. They just want to waste the time of Lions, where the Illidan is just running around doing anything he wants. But for Lions, their supports are actually going to be smashing things.
Yeah, they are. Ogre is Aghanim Scepter is going to be a lot faster than Witch Doctors. But still, it's a huge boost in power when you do get those upgrades for both of these heroes. Bloodlust is also going to get a lot of usage for Lions. With the 3 cores, you can keep that pretty much indefinitely up on all 3 of them. That extra movement speed and attack speed works wonders for you. I don't know, it just feels like Lions are just better equipped to take the next couple minutes of this game.
And VP Polar, they could throw all of that out the window if they get someone initiated upon by Mag. I don't know how long it's been, but it has been a very long time since we've seen Batrider jump in while BKB'd into the lasso, force staff someone back into the rest of the team, and they kill him off. Like, I don't think that's actually happened, and that's what Batrider is supposed to do. If he doesn't do that, he's actually just a terrible hero.
He really is. That's kind of the whole purpose of picking up the Batrider, and yeah, you're right. We really haven't felt Mag's presence very much at all this game. He's wonderful for that high ground defense. They're going to jump forward in mid, but just posturing from both sides. Time Walk's going to keep Faceless Void completely safe. Anti-Mage now with the Abyssal Blade cannot afford to get picked off. Currently no aggressive items. Illidan going for the most balls to the wall Anti-Mage build you pretty much can get away with.
And I don't know if it's going to be a BKB or Heart as his next item, but I sure as hell hope that it's one of those. He just needs some way to survive in all of these fights, because if he gets picked off, then it's just all over for Virtus Pro. And if he gets picked off, odds are it's going to be him dying very quickly or in a Chronosphere or something like that, so it's going to be hard to counterplay against any of that. Aside from FNG, and well, FNG has been the hope of the team, or one of the hopes of the team, kind of side hope, and let's hope that he can continue performing as he has been. Brewmaster is going to find himself an Aghanim Scepter, so it's going to mean that he's going to be doing a little bit more in these fights, but I don't really know if this is the build you want to be going for as a Brewmaster in this game. I feel like going for that Abyssal kind of damagey build is going to... Oh, come on, Jonas and Fan.
It just happens one too many times, I think, for this player in particular.
Well, everyone has a bad day. We'll chalk it up to that. This is just Jonas and Fan's off day.
Yeah, I think that's
he got
fair.
all of his good plays in the Axe game.
Yeah, I think that kind of feels about right. Jonas Sunfan is going to have that on cooldown. It's not the longest, it is a maxed out ultimate, so it is going to be back up in about 70 seconds, but still not something you want to be doing. Honestly, that's incredibly, incredibly hopeful to look for that chrono with the amount of mobility that they're fighting up against.
And I think you might be dead right now, because FNG is mid-swap cast, and Faceless Void, he has to time walk before Abyssal Blade lands, and that is not going to happen. So Jonas and Fan, he loses his Chronosphere, might just lose his life for free. In the meantime, DK Phobos might be jumped upon, whereas Ira, he is in jump range. So maybe it's a 1-for-1 trade right now, but DK Phobos has a BKB. They need to force staff Handskin in, but there's no force staff here. So yeah, this is right now not looking good for Lions.
Yeah, it's really not. Okay, so let's see how this pans out. It's a really awkward time to pause, in all honesty, but oh, that's not great. At least they're letting us know. He is disconnected from TeamSpeak as well, so hopefully just a simple router restart or something of the sorts, and we don't have to wait here. Took 5 to 6 minutes. Alright, 5 to 6 minutes is fine. We should probably be able to fill content for that long.
I love the transparency here. Just, yeah, thank you for letting us know what's going on, so we know what to expect, and, well, everyone should know what to expect as well. As far as what's going to happen in the mid lane, there is a very small chance that they kill off this Brewmaster. They have to wait until Handskin closes in for a Fire Blast, or... No, just a Fire Blast. Nothing else is going to work. So if he closes in for a Fire Blast, and then maybe they could burst down in the Brew, it's going to be really difficult. He has no backup, so that's not going to happen. Brewmaster might get a split, and he's not going to get any kills or anything, so they will force the split defensively here at the very least, or a BKB charge, either which are good. But Jonas Fan, I think, is just almost 100% dead. I don't see any way of this guy getting out of here.
I mean, okay, so I think the only way he gets out of here if Illidan is maybe, like, not paying attention when they unpause, so he doesn't press the Abyssal Blade in time. But, yeah, it kind of feels like Jonas Sunfan's screwed. Unless he has, like, the most godly of backtracks ever.
Yeah, he has to get, like, 4 backtracks in a row, and FNG, he has a Force Staff, so he could swap Force Staff himself back into a Magic Missile, so he has to backtrack the Magic Missile, he has to backtrack, like, 3 or 4 hits from Illidan, then maybe he lives, but that's a really tall order. That's an extremely tall order, but even with that happening, Faceless Void, if he does go down right now, has a buyback, so it's not even, like, the end of the world or anything. In fact, a lot of the Lions heroes have buybacks. It's the only the Witch Doctor who doesn't, so Lions, even if they do take a series of bad fights, they will be able to keep their base intact. Whereas the buyback status from VP Polar, anti-mage, and that's it.
Yeah, and as far as heroes that need the buyback anti-mage, is pretty much on the top of the list. Okay, so it looks like Razor is having continued issues, but this is what you should do. Like, take notes if you're playing in professional games. If you just tell people, it makes it so much easier to wait these pauses.
Even if you're not playing in professional games, if you're pausing ever, just let people know. Because that's how to be it's step one about how to be a good person in Dota.
Yeah, I'm personally much more likely to wait for you if you tell me. Void's pose right now is incredibly awkward.
His neck is not supposed to bend that way.
Not even just his neck, but like his legs, his arms. Like, this is... I don't know. If he got, like, nether swapped, and this was, like, actually how he was standing, he'd probably just break all the bones in his body on impact.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure nether swap would do that most of the time. Like, to be fair,
I
if you're
think
gonna
so
get
too.
swapped out of there, unless you, like... I don't exactly know the science behind swapping, but unless it's, like, opening a portal and you're actually, like, teleported, then, like, moving that much space that quickly should just break your spine. Of course, you know, we're not in the world of realisticness, as everyone is only packing one boot choice right now. You need one for the other foot, man.
I think you do. My immersion's being completely ruined. Their feet would be all sorts of messed up if they're
Except for
running
8
around.
Mother. Not 8 Mother or Bat Rider.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, he doesn't even need boots. Like, how are boots making him move faster? He needs, like, a jetpack. Yep.
New cosmetic, jetpack Razor. You're talking about destroying immersion. People will be complaining so much after that. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's not even close.
It's like, okay, we have this new jetpack for Razor and the new Green Goblin skin for Bat Rider, sponsored by Marvel Comics.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're probably getting way too many cosmetics inside this game.
Yeah, we don't have our Mountain Dew and Doritos Bounty Hunter yet.
Why not? The Capri
Sun
throw
that
Pistol
flavor.
Witch Doctor? Yeah. We're missing out. We really are. All of the endorsements that could be had.
The Coca-Cola Brewmaster.
Not even
It's
like
perfect. Get the polar bear thing going? Or Tusk, I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking more like Ursa or Tusk.
They're all bears.
They're all bears, kinda. What is Brewmaster even? Like, in Dota 1 he was pretty obviously a panda. This time around he's like...
He's a red panda.
He's a red panda?
Yeah. He's like a giant red panda. Except more giant than actually giant red pandas. Because I'm pretty sure all red pandas are giant red pandas. I might be wrong about that, but this one's just like a really huge red panda.
Yes. A really huge humanoid red panda that's let himself go. With a beer gut.
This is not his brightest time right now. He used to be so much better.
What would a skinny Brewmaster look like? That would probably be so wrong.
He's a squid. He probably doesn't even have bones. What are they talking about? I actually don't know. It looks like he does have some sort of bone structure. Magog. The face is void.
I think he does have a bone structure. Maybe after the remodel he's not going to.
He's just like a random floating squid.
He's
like
actually just a
from Mass Effect.
Perfect.
It's a big, stupid jellyfish.
You wanted this Dota 2 community.
Yeah, you voted for it. This is what you brought this upon yourselves.
All of the cosmetics just kind of float around the squid.
All hail this new squid overlord.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Whenever he, like, time walks forward, he just does, like, that little jellyfish, like... Oh, I can't even describe it. I'm doing, like, an arm motion. Hey, we have a razor! That's nice. Maybe we can actually get back into this game.
And you replace all of his sound effects with Zoidberg from Futurama. Perfect. A+. 5 stars. Epic. Valve, add this, please.
Please. I mean, with this cosmetic phase...
Okay, top lane Jonas fan, I just checked the vision. He does not know that Illidan and FNG are here. So he's in for a rude awakening in 3, 2, 1. Swap back, Abyssal Blade. How are your backtracks? Pretty good, but not good enough.
Okay. Well, that's going to be the death there. Brewmaster survives in the middle lane. Not much happening there. And now Virtus Pro Polar. Oh, they are poised, looking for a jump, and he's going to get the last one, a Handskin, but he's linked up by 8 Mother, and he's able to pursue with the BKB pop. Illidan shredding up Handskin. Refresher pop by 8 Mother, however, they're just not focused down this Razor with the double Eye of the Storm. Illidan dropping low, they zip in with Era, buyback on the Faceless Void. They will be able to escape with Illidan, but only just. FNG might not be so lucky as he's pulled back by the Storm Spirit, and that's going to be the end of his life. The Broodlings are still here, but the Brewmaster back into his normal form, probably not going to be so lucky, gets the blink off, but they have more than enough chasing power. Era has plenty of mana to pursue. DK Phobos looking for a secondary blink out, not going to be in the cards. Critting down Era, dropping alone. Oh, the Mana Void onto 8 Mother. This could be a decent turn for them. Era's surviving, but only just. Jonas Sunfan against the world has not a Chronosphere. The gems on the deck not secured by anybody. 4-staff forward, looking for 8 Mother. They get the Spirit in one swipe of Illidan's sword. It's going to be VP Polar to come out ahead.
Yeah, and they force that buyback from just the Faceless Void. They're going to get a first hit bash onto Era, getting so many kills for Illidan. A massive fight for Virtus.Pro Polar, even with some really awkward initiation. Had the choice between Razor and Ogre Magi. Decided to go for Ogre, and I guess that paid off since they did take him out, but Virtus.Pro Polar just fleeing before the might of the Razor, but really we only saw impacts from DK Phobos once he resumed his main form in the corner. With his Sulcarass, his Evasion, his Vlads, his 33 armor, he was able to turn things around so easily. If he only had like a Basher or something aside, instead of this Aghanim Scepter, it could have been huge. A lot more decisive for the VP Polar side, but it's still a massively won team fight by them, and they're going to translate that into a set of Rax's top, it looks like. Seal Kid's going to try to get in there, maybe for a stun. Johnson Fan threatening the Chronosphere at this point is going to mean the melee Rax survives, so only a range Rax for Virtus.Pro Polar. But either way, it is still a fight they can call a victory. And starting things off with a buyback on Faceless Void and also a pick-off on the Ogre Magi. Finally, that's the initiation that I was talking about before. That's the initiation that Virtus.Pro Polar so desperately needed.
That's also Illidan sitting on a completed BKB and 4,300 gold. This Anti-Mage is now getting to 6-slotted territory, and this is what Illidan wanted to be at before that fight, but all it took was one crushing victory. Now they're right back to where they want to be. Scythe on the Storm Spirit's going to be nice, but Anti-Mage wants Blood, going to blink forward aggressively, and maybe not Blood, but just a structure, forcing out the BKB. Abyssal on a Handskin. My goodness, that Ogre did not stand a chance. Survives with very low HP. Dropped down to the ground into the clap. Is going to be the end of his life. TP into the tower coming out from the Razor. BKB forced out by the Brewmaster. Is going to be able to get off the split. But now 8 Mother is completely isolated, being focused down. Air trying to jump in to save the Razor, but it's not going to be to any avail. Buyback from the Ogre Magi trying to get back into this. Jump forward by the Void. He's going to get Chronosphere onto 2, but stunned up by the Stone as well as Flame Broken back. He can't do anything. Pulling back Illidan with the ultimate coming out from the Witch Doctor. He's going to survive and blink down towards the south. Zipping forward to try to pursue this Anti-Mage. Looking for a couple of bashes. Can't find it, buying back instantly into this game. He does have enough money to purchase up some boosted travel, but doesn't do so. Isn't going to join this fight immediately, and for now, I'm going to say that's a win for Lions, but it might not be over yet.
I think I would call it a defense for Lions. I don't know if they could call that a win just because Razor was forced to buy back for that. The initiation, the entire fight was just a complete mess for both sides, really, and Era's going to look to continue this fight, going for Mag. He has that Sheep Stick, and that's pretty much the item to use up against the Anti-Mage, and they're gonna have to use it like right about now, or else they're gonna lose Rax. It's too late. Rax is down. And Lions, I don't think they could have defended that in the long term, but they're still capable of defending unless they get initiated upon one more time. Mag's gonna grab 8 Mother right into the clutches of Illidan. Here comes Era trying to peel off the Illidan off of 8 Mother, and looks like it will be enough. Gets the BKB plus double ultimate off, and he's striking lightning onto everyone. They're gonna focus down Illidan in the BKB. Gets a little bit more space in the Bat Rider. Now Era gonna change his mind, try to help the rest of his team because Razor's already dead, beaten down by DK Phobos. Jonas Fan is awkwardly gonna join this fight, but he's in a 1v5, has to time walk out of there. There's no more buybacks on the Lions side of the base, and Mana Void gonna be backtracked by Jonas Fan, but it will kill off the Storm Spirit and then the Void. Storm has buyback, but their base is in full breach, and I think this fight, or the entirety of the past couple minutes, mostly in the hands of DK Phobos. He finally showed what he could do with the farm that he has. He was unkillable. He still is unkillable.
My goodness, a ridiculous turn. They're not going to be able to end the game immediately here. Buyback forced out by the Storm. They're going to be happy with what they've gotten. Full lane barracks and tier 4, but now a long swap on a Handskin. They're going to bring him down. Multicast, but doesn't really accomplish much. That's Ogre down and just getting a little something on top of it all. If they had the tier 2 towers down in mid or bottom, could have been a whole nother set of barracks. But still, after the longest period of passivity in this game, just that one pickup on the Void turns to be crucial. They'll find even more as they bring down the Void. Now Era in a whole heap of trouble. He's already bought back. If he dies here, might as well be over. Lasso down. There's an Earth Splitter through, not even necessary as Brewmaster kills him off. GG, well played.
right before that pause ended, Lions were 12,000 experience ahead, 5,000 gold ahead. Not the most gold, but a couple of fights, VP Polar, they actually get the lasso initiation off. They keep Anti-Mage alive for the most part. I mean, he did die and buy back, but after that, he was unkillable. And Lions, they just go in one at a time, really, really awkwardly. So that means Lions are now out of the Battle of Central Europe.
Yeah, what a crazy way to end this series, but it was a pretty darn good one. If you like the casting you see here and want to support us, you can do so by following us on HeflaTV on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. Huge shout-outs to the sponsors of this tournament, making it all possible. We are going to have the finals, I believe, tomorrow. 17 CT, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be Virtus Pro Polar versus Hellraiser. So it should be some really good games. As far as the casters, personally, I'm Grant Feet. I've been joined by Mike Lors. Any closing thoughts as we close out the stream for today?
Well, aside from VP Polar, congratulations to them. They're going to the big show, and they lost their last series versus Hellraisers 2-1. Maybe it's going to be a little better for them, maybe not. Lions, the new Lions, I think, when they formed with Jack J. Parr and, well, the old Lions, I suppose, no one gave them any credit, but they showed what they're made of. They made it really far, and they should be pretty happy with their performance.
For sure. Well, thanks for watching, and that'll be it for today. Come back tomorrow for more Battle of Central Europe.